you stand out here on a cool Lincoln evening with Highway 65 humming just a few yards away, you can almost hear the old roads whisper. Because before the highway, before the bypass, even before Gladding McBean fired its first sewer pipe, there was another road. A road that ended in a field halfway between ambition and bankruptcy. They called it the California Central Railroad. It was supposed to link Folsom to Marysville, a bright steel path to the future. But in 1861, when the company ran out of money, the line stopped right here in Lincoln. A big part of why Lincoln became a town is because the track stopped here. You could still see all the, or not all of it, but you could still see the California Central Railroad terminus to this day, right? So here, take a look. So a terminus is just a term for the end of the line or where the track lands, right? So basically, that's it. When you hit that spot, you better be stopped. So anyways, if you walk right, in line north towards Sheridan, you could still see it. Not a lot of it though. It's a low rise through the grass, maybe a rusted spike, a line of old oaks marking where grade once ran. If you do go out there and look for them, bring a metal detector because that might really help you find them. But where I would start is at the terminus, kind of see where that's leading, then go on the other side of 65, and you should be right there. So I think it's at McBean Park Drive, but don't quote me on that. I'll show you a map. So anyways, they're reminders that sometimes progress just runs out of track, surveyors in the, stovepipe hot hats and, hammered stakes across the countryside, drawing a straight line north, right? But legend says, actually, here's kind of a neat thing, that, one young surveyor quit, claiming his compass wouldn't hold north. So he swore the needle just kept sliding west, like something underground was pulling at it. So in 1859, when the crews were laying out the line that would, one day stop in Lincoln, one young surveyor swore his compass wouldn't hold north. So every time he set, his tripod, the needle, just kind of slid to the west. So like something underground was tugging at it or something, The other men laughed it off, but not him, man. He didn't want the curse. So he quit the next day. And left his stakes standing in the ground, right? So years later, folks said that, his line was crooked because the iron in the soil threw readings off, Others claimed it was something else buried underneath the clay, pulling the needle, but that's a different, strange story altogether. So anyways, it's the beginning of another local lore. So today we know that iron rails and local magnetite can bend a compass, right? Magnetite is a naturally magnetic mineral made of iron oxide, and we're sitting on veins of it right here in Lincoln. So that's science, that's not superstition. So, but back then they, called it the surveyor's curse, and, the name just kind of stuck, every time a crew's equipment jammed or a grade sank too fast, somebody would shake their head and mutter, "That's the surveyor's curse again." So anyways, the tracks were laid anyways, and through farmland, oak groves, even across, faint Nissinan trails, but then when the money dried up, so did the dream, right? The rail stopped in Lincoln and the crews moved on, and the line north became, just a raised scar through the fields, nothing much more than that. So 60 years later, another road, tried to finish the job. In the 1910s, automobile clubs dreamed up something totally new, which was the Lincoln Highway. So it was the first road across America, and right through here, it borrowed wagon grades and bits that abandoned the railroad, and it's right away, really. In fact, there's a stretch of old Highway 65 northbound. I'm just going to show you really quick. on the right-hand side, just after you see, there's only like one oak tree out there, right? But it's, when you see that, it's next to the road on the right-hand side. So that's where you can find, a borrowed section of grading just today. So anyways, progress never sits still though, no matter where you are. And it never has. So whether we like it or not, someone's American dream is at work. Someone's livelihood is at work. So that's what created this diamond mine we're living in today, right? I mean, it truly is. I mean, look around you, just, the prosperity and the wealth and everything we live in here, really, it's the reason why people want to be here. So by the late 1930s, new paving bypassed downtown, and by the 1970s, the highway itself was bypassed again. That left chunks of the old road forgotten, short stretches still lying under weeds west of town, the pavement just leading to nowhere. So here, take a look. If you know where to look, you can still see kind of like a ghostly center line, running down the broken pavement. It's just a road that doesn't end. It just stops, right? So here's the picture, and it's the Nicholas Roads West stub. So it was supposed to run northwest to Highway 65, but in the late 1930s, the project stopped in its tracks, right? Just kidding. Railroad tracks. So, dad jokes, I swear to God. Before Lincoln had roads, before the railroad, and, long before the overpasses of Highway 65 were just built, everything funneled through one little ribbon of water, and that was the Auburn Ravine. It doesn't look like much now, right? It looks like a little creek, but, back in the 1850s, this was the dividing line between travel and trouble. So wagons came from Folsom and Roseville only to find their paths stopped at the water's edge. It's like the old Oregon Trail, right? You got to either float and chalk your wagon or just forge it. Well, in the summer, fording it was easy. In winter, you might wait days for it to drop. So a bridge was really necessary. When the California Railroad reached Lincoln in 1861, they built a timber trestle there. It was the first real crossing that we had. A few years later, the county added a wagon bridge alongside it, right about where McBean Park Drive crosses it today. So if you are at McBean Park and you walk down towards the fire department, the next bridge is the one I'm talking about. That's been there forever. So, over time, those old pilings, though, they were buried by, layer by layer as the road was widened and paved. If you stand by the railings at sunset, you can still see the story, the original grade dipping lower than the modern bridge, the cut stones in the banks, and the faint trace of metal if you look just right. Again, metal detector. For any of these things, bring it. It's the bridge beneath the bridge, a century and a half of travel stacked on top of itself, and it reminds us that Lincoln didn't grow because the land was easy. It grew because people found a way across it, no matter what. So every generation adds a new layer: the rail, the road, the bridge, the bypass, the asphalt above, the ties below, and somewhere in between, the stories just we keep telling them. So truth versus legend, right? Let's see what's real. So the California Central Railroad did in fact end in Lincoln in 1861. Company ledgers and the Sacramento Union confirmed it. The old highway did jog through 5th Street before the Highway 65 bypass. You can see it on 1936 Caltrain's map. So as far as the compass that wouldn't hold north, actually, speaking of that map there, okay, so as far as the compass that wouldn't hold north, that one appeared in a 1914 looking back column. No names were attached to it. So The original Auburn Ravine crossing was established in 1861 for the California Central Railroad. A wagon bridge followed soon after. The modern McBean Park Drive sits directly atop the old grade. And the remnants of early stonework are occasionally visible at low water. I mean, you don't want to go during winter time. And maybe the facts and the folklore just shared the same right of way, two tracks just running side by side. So the thing about roads is that they never really end. They just wait for someone curious enough to follow them. Our past, the culverts, subdivisions, the old lines are still there, guys. The ruts, the ties, the whisper of iron in the soil. You could trace them if you want to, know where they look. But anyways, I've already done that, so you got a good start. Once you do, you start to see Lincoln a little differently, not just the town you drive through, but a place still building on every journey that came before us. So go find it, right? Walk the embankment north of town, including a map, so where the tracks stop. Stand on the old asphalt west of Nicholas Road, to see that road stub. Look a little closer at the bridge on McBean Parkway, or check out the grade on Old Highway 65 as you go towards Sheridan. Listen for what history left behind. They're just subtle little reminders. Because the real adventure isn't in ghosts or gold, right? It's right underneath your feet, waiting to be discovered. So, if you like to stand where California Central once ended, or walk a stretch of the old Lincoln Highway, go ahead and check out the Strange Stories of Lincoln Trail. You can find it. Let me give you a QR code. So you can either scan this QR code or just go straight to welcometolincoln.com. And, and you can find a map of the forgotten roads. So if they're not up when you watch this right now, just check back in a couple days. So I have a chance to put them up online. So anyways, I'll see you around town. And remember, every road in Lincoln leads to a new story. So thanks for watching another Strange Story of Lincoln. Keep your eye out for the next episode. As always, I'm Mike Crossfield, a local business owner trying to build a stronger Lincoln together.